Now everybody's getting ready to take a picture. Boy, what a mess. Confusion this is. Trying to get everybody ready to take a picture. Sean,
We're now landed in Logan.
For repairs.
Katana, please close your mouth.
slow.
No, you can't. It's private. It's private out there. Our first airplane ride. Candid camera. We're not going to Hawaii. How you react to being in Boston? Yeah. You have to get used to it, Mallory. This is going to go on all the three ways. Doyle. Hey, Mom. Okay.
Alright, then we'll get some of you now.
Do you know how to get this out? Oh, I know. I've got it. Cut this out. Don't you like that takeoff? Is that exciting? How about the landing?
Well, here's a gang at Chicago Airport. We just got bumped off from one plane and onto another.
It is and it's a big one. Giant. No, Mom's got a phone, isn't. You still want to 60? You want to Yeah, well, it is ours, Mom. It is ours, Mom. And Yeah, wait.
Oh, where'd Meredith go?
She went up that way. They're calling him Everybody else is on.
Now you know what it is to be in an empty airplane.
Stays like this one.
Hi, Dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, almost. I remember that. And
Okay.
Do it. Masai.
yeah. Hi. Hi. Bye. See you later. Everyone's waiting. Come on, let's go.
You're on the wrong side. You see up there. All right. Stand slow.
I am. They're walking too fast. Please, slow down. Auntie Nanny, say hi.
Hi. Look at all the people up here. House full of people. People for sale. Don't take my rose. Oh no. Dr. Sino's. Everybody. That's everybody.
So we go down. Stay with them.
Say hi.
Morning.
Honey girl, say hi.
We're used to this time of year.
I'm too close. Get out of here, Ukraine. Ukraine!
Yeah. Look at this guy. Up and down, up and down. Grandma, put him on top of the stairs.
Oh, talking, sweet, talking. I love you, folks. Everybody say hi.
Here we go again. You're gonna get tired of this one.
Nanny, Lord, honey, hi.
Wait a minute.
Careful now.
Okay, Susie, your turn. Your turn.
My big cake.
Salty, he's selling on, it was 550. One mango.
Honey girl keeps jumping in the picture.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom.
No, you're doing fine.
These are on the thing hibiscus.
Yes, these are honey, and those trees are full of still.
One to the right.
Oh, you dirt ladies are dirty. So early in the morning.
They tell you all about how the planes came over, bombed the harbor, and what happened. And it's bad. Coley is
I'll find out.
We can go over the pass, right?
But,
Coley.
yeah, we're gonna go over.
Sorry, I forget to.
Hibiscus plants, clay, Arizona Memorial, pretty long. And it's only, I just say, it's 12:02, okay, but it's really 7.
Call me if you want to come down. Don't jump across there.
They're gonna find there's Meredith. There's some other guy with this video camera. Meredith. Connor. To the place where we're going, with a boat under the water and a thing on top. Broha, and it's not even open yet. Skated in no, give you a brief real quick. People all the way. I'm not saying going to you. It is. Arizona built the
We all got ticket number 2 instead of 3. So we're doing 15 minutes better. That means at 8:15, which is to go into that area theater and go in at 8:15 when they open up the door. I want you out here at this time because this is the most perfect time to jump into at the Arizona Memorial. So we'll see you at 10 o'clock. Okay? Aloha. I'll see you at 10 o'clock, Sam. Okay.
What did you get? Oh, the first one. What did your mother get?
Marie.
Look at this wonderful boy. What if I was in the car? I know. But what if I was? Would it be fun?
How many of you can remember where you were and what you were doing when you heard the news of this attack? Look around, you can see you're not visiting an ancient battlefield this morning. Most Americans marked the event well, for they knew that this attack on an isolated island outpost, thousands of miles from their homes, would forever alter the course of their lives. Many people throughout the world noted the attack, for they knew it meant at last America would be throwing her full might into the fray. Many Americans divided their lives in two parts, that before Pearl Harbor and that after, because the event so dramatically affected them. Pearl Harbor is part of a famous battle cry. It's a signal event in many Americans' lives of the day. It's also a signal event in the life of the United States itself. For Pearl Harbor is the springboard from which America was launched into the greatest conflict of all time. And when she emerged at the end, the world had a new word to describe her: superpower. This achievement was realized only at terrible cost. Especially poignant was the loss here on Sunday, December 7th, 1941, of more than 1,000 men aboard USS Arizona. It's time now to remember Pearl Harbor.
Arizona, named after the 48th state of the United States of America. Arizona, sister ship to the Pennsylvania, among the world's largest battleships when begun in 1913. December 1918. Honor escort, rendezvous with transport George Washington with President Woodrow Wilson aboard, en route to the Paris Peace Conference. 26 December 1918. Arrival New York with 238 homeward bound World War I veterans aboard ship. Personnel to join Victory Parade. Flagship, Battleship Division 2. Flagship, Battleship Division 3. Flagship, Battleship Division 4. 8 July, 1941. Assigned Pearl Harbor. Flagship, Battleship Division 1. Captain Van Valkenburg commanding. Rear Admiral Kidd embarked. Pearl Harbor. By December 6, 1941, more than 90 ships would be in the harbor to become the object of one of the most brilliantly planned and executed naval attacks in history. Why? And how did this happen? It started a long time before. The Japanese Army had occupied Manchuria in 1931, invaded North China in 1937, and moved into Indochina in 1940. Hitler's armies swept through Europe with world domination the goal. Japan joined Germany and Italy in a treaty. Diplomatic relations were breaking down. Yet the U.S. did prepare in some ways. Congress provided for replacement of obsolete Navy ships. President Roosevelt said, "Your boys are not going to be sent into any foreign wars." Japan demanded a free hand in China and a halt of U.S. aid to that country. She also demanded resumption of trade with the United States and a promise that the U.S. would not reinforce her Pacific bases, even in the Philippines. As an isolationist nation, the United States hoped the whole business would go away. Japan was being squeezed, cut off from oil, money frozen in the United States. Fearing economic ruin, but still negotiating with America, Japan felt that her back was to the wall. A showdown was imminent. Shrouded in secrecy, a Japanese task force practiced Phase 1, the attack on Pearl Harbor. Preparation, should negotiations break down. Emperor Hirohito, the Japanese sovereign. With war on the horizon, real power was exercised by the cabinet and the new Prime Minister and General of the Army, Hideki Tojo. The commander-in-chief of the combined Japanese fleet was the brilliant strategist Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto. He realized Japan's only hope in controlling the Pacific War was to cripple the U.S. fleet in one devastating blow. The Japanese planned 6 coordinated operations based on an assumption that the main body of the Pacific Fleet would be anchored at Pearl Harbor. The occupation of Siam and the invasion of southern Burma. Invasion of Malaya. British Borneo. Northern Sumatra. Occupation of Dutch Borneo, the Celebes, and Buena Timor, and the invasion of Java. Attack and prepare to invade the Philippines. Destroy all American air power. Attacks on Guam and Wake to sever American communications. Attack and invade the Gilbert Islands. Invade Singapore. And eliminate this British outpost. It was all to start at Pearl Harbor on the morning of December 7th, 1941. Pearl Harbor, a Navy coaling station in the 19th century. By 1941, one of the most important bases in the Pacific, with a shipyard, a submarine base, and an air station. Since 1940, home port for the Pacific Fleet, a move aimed at deterring Japanese expansion. It would be Sunday, and the American fleet would normally be in harbor. December 1941. Commander-in-Chief Pacific Fleet orders all ships in harbor at Condition 2. 1/4 of all gun stations to be manned due to increased tension in negotiations with the Japanese Empire. 6 December 1941. USS Arizona Band to compete in the Battle of the Bands at Block Arena. December 1941. 11 hours away from a day that will live in infamy. Just before 11 p.m., December 6th, about 8 miles off Pearl Harbor, 5 midget subs were launched from their motherships. Those on the decks could see Waikiki Beach. Across the water came faint sounds of music. The midgets were to steal into the channel, lie in wait off Battleship Row until the air attack started, then surface and launch their twin torpedoes. Miles southwest, the USS Enterprise, one of 3 carriers in the Pacific, was scheduled to be berthed at Pearl this night. But due to heavy weather the day before, she was forced to slow down. The Enterprise, through a stroke of luck, would not arrive at Pearl on schedule. Pearl Harbor slept. The men from the USS Arizona Band returned to their ship. They had finished second in the band contest and had won the right to sleep in late, the morning of December 7th, 1941. A float plane was launched from the cruiser Chikuma. It flew directly over Pearl Harbor. A message in simple code was sent to the task force. Enemy's fleet in Pearl Harbor. The first wave of more than 180 planes was launched in no more than 15 minutes. A second wave of 168 followed. The sons of the rising sun headed for Japan's destiny. At sea, just outside Pearl Harbor, the destroyer Ward attacked a midget submarine. At 6:54 a.m., Ward sent a radio message to the 14th Naval District. We have attacked, fired upon, and dropped depth charges upon sub operating in defensive sea area. At approximately the same time, an Army private picked up approaching planes on his radar, but they were thought to be a flight of B-17s from the mainland. In Washington, President Roosevelt met with the Chinese ambassador, and later conferred with his chief aide, Harry Hopkins, over lunch. Secretary of State Cordell Hull was waiting for Japanese Ambassador Nomura to present Japan's latest demands. Unknown to the Japanese, the U.S. had broken their high-level code. Hull and President Roosevelt had already read the entire message. It was unacceptable. It meant war. But when and where? Foreign Minister Shigenori Togo had just delivered a private message from President Roosevelt to the Emperor. The message was one seeking lasting peace between the two nations.